welcome to day 4. It's my Thursday here. I am excited about today. I can't believe we've already gone through 3 days. We've got 2 more days to go. And I just want to talk before I forget about tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be coming live an hour earlier. I've just realized yesterday morning that I had a session with a client and my times got mixed up because in America, some of the places have changed their time to summertime, and where I live, we do not change our time. So the schedule is a little bit all over the place. I know some of you have booked a time in my calendar, so I might have to contact you to change things around. So apologies about that. But tomorrow, I'm coming live with a special guest, and I don't want to forget about this because it's going to be absolutely awesome tomorrow. And the time that we can come together, it's an hour early, and I'll make a post about that so you know, so you don't forget about it. But I will add like a time converter link as well, so you can check on your time zone, because like I said, I don't change my time, and perhaps where you are, you have changed your time. So I'm coming on with a very special guest. Somebody who has participated of my last challenge and who's has an amazing story, and I'm really excited about him sharing his story here. As a result of that, he became a client and we are working together. But even before he became a client and we had our first session together, he had done his homework, and I just want him to talk about it tomorrow with you. So don't miss out, because it's gonna be amazing. And no, just like doing a quick recap here. Again, I'm so excited about, everybody's comments, breakthroughs. Some people are being so vulnerable out there. I'm feeling like absolutely flattered. This challenge has been really, I would say, the challenge that people has put themselves most out there. And I feel so proud and blessed and happy for you that you're doing this work. Just to give you an idea, I had 97 views on day 1, I had 55 views on day 2, 45 views on day 3, which is incredible for the challenge. Normally the numbers go like very quickly after the first day down, and in a group that it's only a small group, this is really beautiful. But yet, like I'm gonna emphasize again, the amount of people who have done the work is probably a very small percentage. And it's so easy for us to stay in our head and think that we are doing the homework in our head and not putting ourselves out there. And there is so many people that are in this group that want to be putting their story out there. They want to become a coach. They want to help people, and this is how you start. I remember the first course that I bought, which was worth $2,000, and I started putting my story out there, not even knowing what I was going to do. And it was very scary, doing a video. And, I just kind of thought to myself, I've got to do this if I want to live up to my purpose and my mission. And in this challenge, I haven't even asked people to do a video, but maybe the next challenge I'm going to be doing that. But, it's really, we want all of those things, but, not many people are prepared to really take the action steps to get there. It's very easy for us to look at people that are on top, people that we're admiring, thinking like, they had, this isn't their nature gift, like, oh, they had it easy, or they knew how to do that. When people talk to me like, oh, I know there is only one problem, I don't know how to work out technology. I can sometimes spend half an hour to look for something on Facebook. I am not very good at technology at all. Like I said yesterday, I have made so many mistakes, going live and, losing the sound and having my board, people couldn't read the board from the camera. I have made so many mistakes, and technology does not come natural to me, but I can't let that stop me. And yesterday was a really important day, because unless you start claiming your name, what's stopping you? You're going to stay where you are. You need to start embracing this as a whole journey. Somebody Clara commented about, like, there was so many wasted years, so many, time wasting in living in the matrix, in living like unconscious and living, not really understanding what was going on. You know, when I look back at my life, you know, like the 38 years that I lived like in the Matrix, not knowing anything, you know, I still accomplished some amazing things. You know, I lived in 6 different countries. I learned 4 different languages. You know, I walked a human in the jungles of Bolivia. I made so many beautiful friends. I worked for some really good companies and I learned so many different skills. You know, nothing goes to waste. You know, and if we start focusing on that, you know, like on the regrets, on the things that we should have done, you know, we have got very little energy to focus on what we can change in this moment right here, right now. You know, and I think that it's okay for us to acknowledge that, you know, perhaps I could have done something different. You know, Brené Brown was talking in her book about regret. You know, people that say, I don't have any regrets, she feels that, you know, it's kind of a missed opportunity that you could have learned to doing things better. But, you know, we don't want to sit in that place for too long. You know, we want to focus on the present moment because that's all we have and all we can do right now to move us towards the right direction, our right path. Everything that we have gone through. And today I know this, you know, like I spent 10 years in recruitment. You know, I have done a whole course in distressing yourself, which, you know, I can add the link below, like with tools that you can utilize each day to distress yourself. And it's, you know, it goes back to like, you know, I almost manifested this career, which was recruitment, that was so stressful. You know, so I could just be in that place because that's all I knew what to do. You know, there could have been other careers that I could have landed, you know, and I tried different things before I landed in recruitment. I worked in finance, I worked in administration, I worked in different things. But when I landed in recruitment, I loved it and I thrived it. But it was like a very, very high competitive, high pressure environment, you know, ups and downs all the time, you know, dealing with people, letting you down every other day, you know, and I chose that and I thrived on that because I was addicted to being stressed. Which is something that it's insane. Right? There was a practice that I had learned, you know, from childhood because, you know, my dad was always working, was always stressed, and that's all I knew. You know, it's crazy how, you know, and I could look at that thinking like, oh my God, you know, like I wasted 10 years, you know, in my life in recruitment. The reality is, no, I didn't, because in 10 years I have learned so much about people. You know, I have learned so much in my career in recruitment, you know, dealing with difficult situations because you're dealing with people all the time, people that have different ideas of how they want things to go. You know, clients and candidates, you know, candidates' wives and partners and husbands, you know, so it's a very, very tricky situation that you're dealing with because you're dealing with different people, you know, and you're trying to get them to agree on one outcome together. So I have learned some incredible skills, and I never look back and thinking like, oh, you know, I regret that I stayed so long in that career. You know, for me, it was all preparing me to this moment right here, right now, that I'm here with you. And it's really a changing perspective when we start looking, you know, at things. And I spoke about this, I think it was yesterday. You know, most people get stuck either in the past, reliving that same story over and over again, or they get stuck in the future. You know, when I have this, I'll do that. You know, when this change, I'll do that. You know, when my, you know, my boss changed, when my partner changed, when my family changed, then I will change. I'm waiting for my husband to change before I change. Why do I have to do everything? You know, Mary said something so powerful. You know, she said, you know, I've been waiting, you know, my whole life for the person that broke my heart to come back, you know, and give me what I needed and become the person who he was before, or something like that. She said, you know, and you know, there's so many people that that are waiting for that, right? They're for their father to tell them, you know, like I was, you know, I'm proud of you. You know, and I'm really blessed that my father would build a really good, beautiful relationship. And at the end, he did say that, you know, but it was because I set a very, very, very strong intention to repair and heal that relationship. And it took me time, and I stuck to it. I stuck to the process. You know, I really focused on that process because I wanted to heal that fully. I got out of the box, I sat with the feelings, I felt the pain, and I, you know, prayed to God every single day, please help me. You know, so I remember, you know, when Mary said it was so powerful. I felt so honored by her honesty. And I think that is so important to bring this up today because, you know, my first interaction with somebody around this subject about the relationship that I had with my parents, I was at home. I had self-quarantined myself because I was getting sick with cough and colds like during the beginning of my chemo. So I had the opportunity to call the psychologist through my employee assistant program through my corporate job. And I called this man and I said, hey, my name is Angelica. I'm 38 years old. I have just been diagnosed with stage 3 back cancer. I've changed my whole diet. I start exercising and, you know, I'm fine with all of that, but I just can't forgive my parents and I need you to help me to do so. The man was like, what the heck? Like, seriously? Like, wait a second. Let's just acknowledge what you have done so far. So you've just been diagnosed with stage 3 back cancer and, you know, and you've just implemented all those changes and you know, are you kind of proud of yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of proud of myself, but, you know, back to my point, are you going to be able to help me or not? And, you know, as the conversation evolves and he really understood what was to being sick because he had type 2 diabetes. And, you know, he said to me, Angelica, you know, the whole relationship with your parents, you know, it's really interesting because obviously you want them to behave in a certain way, right? But you just told me that you perhaps don't behave in the way that they want you to behave. So let me ask you a question. Why should they behave the way that you want them to behave, but when you are not behaving how they want you to behave? That hit me like a brick wall. I was just like, wow, they have all the right in the world to behave like they want, to choose what they want, to carve their own path. But we get stuck. We get stuck on this like, you know, I need them to do what I want. Without knowing unconsciously, why are they not doing, why didn't they love me how I want them to love me? Why didn't they care for me how I wanted them to care for me? That was a big realization for me. And not everybody's prepared to listen to this and to have this realization because what they do is they go back to that same. So, no, but Angelica, but they've done that. No, I know they've done all of that. My parents did too. But you're still stuck there. You want to change the past and you can't change the past. All you can change is the here and the now and how you feel about it. But we're not going to get into this today. Like I said, you know, if you are interested in forgiving people, you know, there is my forgiveness course, you know, like you can dive into deep and go through that, which is a beautiful course. But look, today we're going to be talking about practicing to celebrate you and what you have accomplished. And I think that really ties up together with what we've done, right? Day one, we get rid of that wall that we build in front of our hearts. Think about this, you know, like if you have a wall in front of your heart, energetically you can't receive anything. And this is real. You know, if I ask you about a person who have hurt you, you can physically feel your heart closing. You can feel your energy going inside. Right? So once you get rid of that obstacle, once you get rid of that wall that it's, you know, really in the way for you to receiving, you know, then day two, you start focusing on the things that make you feel good. So then, you know, you're not so focusing on the blaming, the complaining, the, you know, the sadness, the anger. You know, I'm not saying to suppress them, but to focus on feeling good, because that's all we practice mostly, the blaming, the complaining, the negative emotions. So you start practicing a different feeling in your body, in your mind, in your soul. And then you start really feeling like what is stopping you from going from this feeling of feeling good to move forward. Right? So what is it really now that is stopping you? And, you know, fear came up a lot. You know, I want to put, you know, content out there. Paul has said, you know, I want to, you know, sometimes, you know, people just, I want to sort out my life out and I want to create a different life, you know, like Regina said, you know, I feel like from the place that I am, I can't move forward. So really, all I can say to all of this, once you recognize what's stopping you, if it's the fear, if it's the, the inability to let go, it is really taking small steps. I feel so blessed, for my entire cancer journey. And the best gift, one of the best, because cancer has given me many gifts, it was that I just couldn't take big steps. I had gone through my life going from 0 to 100 every single day, being busy all the time and accomplishing a lot and doing everything, and all of a sudden, instead of going from 0 to 100, I could go from 0 to half. And my steps, they had to be so small. So small. I was reading a book, it's called Atomic Habits. It's a really interesting book, but it's really interesting because, when I read books, sometimes I feel like I lived through all of that. When he talks about, taking small steps, there is no point in trying to, going from here to being, the most successful person, because that is not the step that you can take. All you can take now is maybe from going from here and creating different habits every day so you can fill your cup. Once you know how to do that, then you create different habits so you can start, helping others. I see so many entrepreneurs trying to help people while their cups are empty. They can't last for very long. That's why there is so many burnout in entrepreneurs. It's a real thing. It doesn't matter what age. Sometimes they're younger, they're in their mid-20s and they're burnout. So I feel so blessed that cancer taught me you can't walk more than half a step. And you have to stick to it. And you have to trust the process, because that's your only chance. I feel so blessed that I lived this and I accepted this, that I embraced it. I never fought cancer. I embraced cancer with my both arms. I was tired of fighting life. And as I started walking, somebody mentioned on the comments saying, I want to, it was Jacqueline saying, for me a good thing is to walk and be conscious of each step and looking at the birds. How beautiful is that? How many people can do that in the world? If you ask me, that's happiness, that is success. That is, for me, a successful person. If you can just go for a 5 minutes walk and be conscious about your body, how your body is moving, looking at the birds and the trees. That is just just beautiful. Being present, being with you, with your body. And for me, I was really forced to doing that. And as a result of that, I started practicing to celebrate me and what I had accomplished each day. Things that were so small sometimes was, wow, Angelica, you went for the 10 minutes walk. Wow, Angelica, you could prepare your own food. Wow, Angelica, you could sit up and read a book, for your kids for 10 minutes. Sometimes I would read and I would just gasp for air, for during chemotherapy, because, everything that was going on in my body was very, very difficult. And I remember, reading a book for my kids was hard. And I would just go, I would just gather all my strength so I can do that. Sometimes when we have our backs against the wall, we start valuing different things, and that's why I'm so thankful for cancer, and I feel so blessed. I promised myself that I would never forget those lessons. Somebody said to me, I put a post up on a group, and she said, yeah, but it's all good that you did this, but life gets busy and you forget about it. No, I will not forget that. For me, it's very important that, everything that I live and I do and I practice each day, it's to honor that, my second chance in life. And as I started learning how to practice this celebrate me, as opposed to just, having that inner voice telling me you are not enough, that you haven't done enough today, you need to accomplish more. I started changing the connection with myself and with my body. But, after all of the work that I had done, I had, I'd gone through chemo, I had, my physical body was already at the top, performance. My emotional self was very, very much healed, and I was back at my part-time corporate job. One day, I kept reading these things of people saying, you know, I wake up and I jump out of bed and I'm so happy. And I'm like, I still can't do that, you know, like, and I was sitting with this and thinking like, why can't I do that? And one day I was talking to my husband. My husband is an amazing husband. He's an amazing human being, and he's my best student. If anything, he implements things better than I do. And one day I'm going to get him to do a challenge with me because he's amazing and incredible. And one day I asked him, hey, you know, like, when you wake up, what's the first thing that you think about? And, you know, all the work that I had done, he had done, he had done it too, you know, like he was working on his physical body, on his emotions and all of that. And he said, well, I think about, oh, here we go again. And I was like, okay, interesting. And he said, what about you? And I said, you know, it's interesting. I feel like my mind, you know, I wake up and my mind doesn't know what to do, because I am truly grateful for each day after what I have been through. But I still don't know how to jump out of bed. And as I sat with that, and I thought, you know what? Waking up and being happy and excited about your day is just another habit. And I haven't been practicing that, and I wasn't taught that. And I just need to practice that. So I started practicing, you know, waking up and knowing exactly what I had to think. You know, waking up and going, oh, I'm thankful for this day. I'm excited about today. You know, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. Because if you don't do that, your inner voice knows exactly where to go. Oh my God, here we go again. Oh my God, I've got to meet that person. Oh my God, I've got to cook dinner. Oh my God, my kids are going to do this. That, you know, our bodies and our minds, they do what they're used to doing. It's all a habit. This is why I'm so passionate about changing habits. You know, this is my mission, you know, empowering people to take ownership of their health and life by changing habits. You know, there is no point in trying to, you know, doing things and listening to this amazing motivational thing and this other amazing motivation things unless you start changing what you do each minute of the day. You are never going to feel a difference. And everything that we do, it's a habit. We are a group of habits walking around. So once I realized that, took all the pressure away, you know, it's not about like, oh my God, I need to be the happiest person in the world. I just need to practice a different habit. So I started practicing that simple habit. When I used to wake up and I would be saying to myself, no, I'm excited about today. You know, I'm grateful for today. You know, I would, you know, really know exactly what I was thinking, you know, and on that note, you know, like one of the worst habits people can do is waking up and picking up their phones and, you know, already, you know, which I used to do before cancer, already answer an email or go on social media, which is the worst habit ever. You know, and what happens is if you're waking up like that, then how do you think your day is going to go? You will have allowed already the world to come at you before you fill up your cup, before you told yourself and your body, I am more important than anybody else. So I started practicing this very, very simple habit. Waking up and being super, super, super excited about the day and grateful and happy. And, you know, the more I did it, the more I got used to it. And the more it came natural to me and to my husband. You know, when we started doing this, and, you know, it was about practicing a different thought and feeling. And before we knew, you know, you can carry this feeling, you know, with you throughout the day, because you really wake up feeling and thinking in a different way. So today, guys, the homework is very, very simple. Is to think about 1 or 2 sentences, let's not overcomplicate this, that you're going to think about as soon as you wake up. And if you're looking at your mobile phone, stop that straight away, because that's the worst thing you can do. So waking up, and to make it more powerful, so you write it down and you look at your paper as soon as you wake up, so you don't forget. So that's very simple. But now, guys, when I talk to my clients about changing habits, I always focus on the consistency and trust in the process and really doing things that you can do every single day. There is no point in doing that for 2 days and forgetting about it, right? This challenge is free. You can apply everything that I told you here for free, and you can have an immense transformation in your life in another week, in another 2 weeks, another 3 weeks, another 4 weeks, and another 5 weeks. Or you can do it for 2 days and think to yourself, nothing changed, and go back to old ways. It's as simple as that when it comes to changing habits. There is no secret, and this is why, the accountability is key, because starting is a little bit tricky, because we have a tendency to go back to our old ways. Once you have somebody accountable, then you know that, okay, well, this is what I need to go back to. When your default mode takes you to like, oh yeah, life is so miserable, oh my God, I have to do this again, oh my God, I don't like this. If you have accountability, like I was talking about yesterday, this is why for me it's so important to have the 24/7 tech support with my clients, because when they are falling, I can help them to pick themselves up. So we do it so many times in the course of the 3 months that when we finish working, they know what to do by themselves, which for me, it's my objective, right? This is not a diet program. This is a different way of living. But, by all means, if you're feeling to yourself like, Angelica, but I don't have any money to spend on a coach right now, that's fine. Apply those things that you've learned here every single day for a long period of time, and you will get the success. But if you just do it for a month, if you do it for 2 months, everything that I do, I've been doing for 4 years. And the results that I get, they compound, they compound, they compound, they compound, they compound. Like when I check in with my body and I feel how I feel today in comparison to 6 months ago, my body's a lot stronger. Why? Because I still practice the same things every day. I exercise every day. I still eat in the same way as I did, if anything better. There is no results, there is no massive transformation in 1 day or in 2 days. You have to keep at it. You have to detach yourself from the results and just think to yourself like, this is what I'm going to do. It's my new way of being. It's my new way of living. For me, it was very simple. I didn't want to go back to the old Angelica. The old Angelica was suffering, was unhappy, was physically in a lot of discomfort. It was incredible the amount of signs my body was already giving to me. Emotionally, I was lost and broken and crumbling on the inside. Why would I want to go back to that? So I reminded myself every day, when things got hard, this is my new me. This is what I need to do. So this is a very simple habit. Just write it down, 2 sentences, remind yourself when you wake up, and just go by your day. That is going to make a massive difference, because you start your day with a chosen thought, not like what this crazy voice tells you. And then when you're practicing as you go on your day, celebrating you, it's easier. Because you can even tell yourself, you know what? I've started my day in a different way today. We need to learn how to practice more what we have accomplished as opposed to focus on what we haven't done. Sometimes, for some of you, it will be, I can go for a 5 minutes walk. Sometimes it will be, I can change, instead of eating 10 biscuits, I'm eating 9 biscuits. That is a celebration. Instead of drinking 3 cans of Coca-Cola, I'm drinking 2 cans of Coca-Cola. This whole thing like black and white, going from one extreme to another, it doesn't work for anyone. It has never worked for anyone, and it's never going to work for anyone. So you need to acknowledge where you are at and start taking small steps where you want to go. You can't go from being completely angry every day to being completely happy. That's impossible. So, okay, I can go from being completely angry to being a bit less angry. That's an improvement. It's worth of you celebrating. So start your day differently, and as you go with your, about your day, you start thinking to yourself, You know, am I celebrating myself enough? You know, what can I celebrate that I have done that is taking a step towards the right direction? Guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been another amazing day. I would love to hear your sentences that you're going to choose, you know, to really anchor you at the start of your day in the mode of practicing celebrating yourself in your life, as opposed to going, you know, to the automatic path, which is probably, you know, like, here we go again, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I'm not happy about my life, I don't, you know, I'm not happy about this or the other. You know, just starting your day in a different way. Don't forget that tomorrow we are meeting an hour early. I will add this, I'll make a post out of it with a time converter, so you know that my time hasn't changed, you know, but you know, your time might have changed. You know, if you have booked a time, I might contact you just to change things around, but you know, it's going to be fine. So thank you so much for being here. It's been incredible, this challenge. I really honor and I value, and I feel blessed that the people that are pouring their hearts out, you know, I know that, you know, the transformation starts when you really start, you know, putting yourself out there and stop being on your shelf. And I honor everybody that has done that. And thank you so much, guys, for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.